We are in these prison walls, doing my bases, doing my time.
I'd like to give you an insight into my experience as a Black woman prison employee and share how I negotiated and managed a series of who am I and who are we questions, which stems from the intersectionality of gender and race. Intersectionality, first coined by Kimberly Crenshaw, is an analytical tool and theory that can be used to conceptualize the complex experience and perception of Black women by considering multiple social categories at once. Individuals construct independent and different pictures of reality in their place of work that is based on their individuality, life experience, personal history, etc. This influences the way they experience working in organizations and respond to colleagues. My gender and race underpin my role within the workplace. It creates a paradox because my physical characteristics, such as skin color, hair, and features, make me highly visible within the predominantly white male occupational setting. So, like many other Black women, I have to think about self-presentation, my clothing, facial expression, and even the language I use. This can place a burden on Black women when trying to remain authentic. In this context, being authentic refers to when an individual can be genuine and true to themselves, feeling comfortable to express one's values, beliefs, and personality openly while maintaining professionalism in the workplace. I was once told that I was an HMPPS employee first before my gender and race. The pressure to assimilate into the role of prison employee and organisation was overwhelming. I found myself on the margins of the organisation and experienced isolation, suspicion and mistrust because of racial discrimination. My PhD research found that I was not alone. Many Black women find themselves on the margins of their workplace because of the intersectionality of gender and race. This presentation examines how identity-based conflict that stems from the intersectionality of gender and race was managed and contained through poetry. Identity-based conflict is defined as conflict between the values, beliefs, norms, and demands inherent in individuals and group identities, as well as ethnic or cultural differences. When an individual's identity and perception of their reality is undermined or assumed inaccurate or incomplete, it can be deeply unsettling. One way in which individuals manage their identities in the workplace involves creating narratives and stories through which they seek to reflect on the new meanings ascribed to themselves and others about who they are within the workplace. It is from this perspective that poetry as a form of action inquiry could equate to workplace praxis. Roberts et al. Defines praxis as moving from the theoretical to the practical. Poetry can be used to reveal the lived experiences of employees in a way that more traditional qualitative inquiry may not be able to extract. The reflective nature of poetry writing has the potential to metaphorically go beneath the surface to make visible associations that might otherwise be overlooked or untapped. I'm a senior manager in His Majesty's Prison and Probation Service in England and Wales. I've worked in this organisation for over 20 years in 4 different prisons and various HQ directorates. My experience is multidimensional and complex, and I relate this to identity-based conflict. I'm going to share a poem written following an interview for an internal promotion for the role of Senior Diversity Manager. I was not successful, and I sought feedback. When I met with one of the interviewers, the meeting began with the cliche, "You're overqualified, but not the right fit," followed by other generalizations and contradictory information that were not specific or could be applied to improve for future interviews. The poem focuses on my emotional state at the time. It contains metaphors and imagery and is subjective, emotional, visceral, and intuitive. The poem captures and contains the hurt and rejection and surge of emotional labour associated to the glass ceiling, a metaphor for the barriers Black women encounter when seeking career progression. Humiliated. Humiliated is how you make me feel time and time again when you take up my opportunities away while you wave from your ivory tower. You refuse to treat me as an equal, a valid member of your team. You highlight my differences and use as an excuse. Your apathy blinds you. You feel comfortable and relaxed, happy to avoid addressing the pain you've caused, so you ostracize me instead. You ridicule me without knowing, undermine my competence and skills to maintain your solidarity with your colleagues. They look like you, not like me. You cannot relate to me because there are no similarities. You take my diversity as emptiness without feeling or emotion. Your bias pervades your behaviour, your decision to make excuses. I pretend I am not hurting. My resilience and perseverance increase. I am strong, I am black, I am a woman, I will never accept defeat. I carry on from the outside, focused to achieve. You will not see the true me, just a facade of an empty employee. The aptly titled poem Humiliated conjures thoughts of shame and embarrassment. These feelings were not associated to an unsuccessful interview, but to the feedback received, and because the successful candidate shared they neither had the qualification or experience for the diversity role. Perhaps it was her shared identity that made her the best fit for the position. The subsequent stanzas refers to the loss of opportunity to progress one's career, which is intensified by the glass ceiling. This is subtly emphasized by the final sentence, while you wave from your ivory tower. The images associated to identity-based conflict, anger, rejection, despair are apparent throughout the stanzas that follow, entrenching the issues of marginalisation associated to the intersectionality of gender and race. Thematic attention is given to the relational dynamic between the interviewer and I. The middle three stanzas speak to the larger context of workplace inequality, discrimination, isolation, and feelings of not belonging. There is a clear division here between us that relies on images of the treatment I experienced during the interview feedback. In this sense, the stanzas more accurately express the intensity of emotions conveyed that may be lost in other means to articulate what occurred during the interview feedback. The impact of identity-based conflict is illustrated through images and metaphors to show the effects on my well-being and self-esteem. The final two stanzas provide an intimate revelation of the hurt and pain I felt. Each sentence is drenched with contradictory feelings of agony and strength, despair and persistence that show the intensity of negative emotions and an inner strength that remain beyond the sidelines of open conversation with colleagues. The poem ends with a hint of how the author's authenticity is stripped and replaced with the facade of an empty employee. The poem illuminates how the function of identity and reality formation pervade workplace activity. I wanted to share this poem to show how poetry can be used as a means of action inquiry and contribute to a broader understanding of workplace conflict, one that fully and deeply incorporates the inner lives of workers. This presentation, hopefully, can support HR specialists and businesses in 4 different ways, and more. But first, by helping build employee relationships, poetry allows discussion and exploration of difference in a non-judgmental way. 2, it can be used as a tool to manage identity-based conflict to create inclusive work environments. 3, it can build employee resilience during workplace challenges and difficulties as a means of reflection and self-expression. And 4, improve employee well-being as poetry enables employees to process complex emotions, enhance their communication skills, and improve workplace dynamics. Ultimately, poetry in business can drive positive outcomes because it will create deeper connections amongst employees and build trust and loyalty. I hope this presentation will encourage further research and discussion about the benefits of using poetry and other creative arts in business to develop our understanding of employees' experience of identity-based conflict and the different forms it can take and the different means in which we can mitigate and resolve the conflict. This approach would ultimately help to develop a sense of belonging and inclusivity for all staff, and in doing so, reduce the impact of emotional labour and support staff well-being. If you would like to read the full article, then please direct message me, or you can access it on ResearchGate and other social media platforms. Thank you for listening.
Make me free, reflection.